So Tesla stock just had its earnings report come out as well as the earnings call, and there's a lot to go ahead and touch on in this video, as well as just cover my predictions for Tesla stock moving forward. Now, if you guys saw my video yesterday, Tesla's price action is pretty much exactly in sync with what I said in yesterday's video. For example, yesterday's video that I uploaded was Tesla stock prediction, watch before tomorrow's earnings, and I did an options pricing analysis where I said, hey, look, Tesla closed yesterday at roughly $209.15, and I said the expected move is for Tesla to move 7%, and it's likely that it's going to move 7% downwards. And this was, again, yesterday before the earnings report, before anything actually came out, and that is exactly pretty much what we're seeing, 6.65% of a move downwards, pretty much close to that 7% move that I predicted yesterday. Now, of course, we still have to see what Tesla looks like at the open for tomorrow, but I want to go ahead and touch on what did we exactly see for Tesla, and then also talk about the price action that we could see moving forward. Now, there's a couple of things I want to go ahead and touch on. Now, I want to just quickly talk about the fundamentals, right? This is just a quick tweet on X that I wanted to share with you guys, as just pretty much breaks it down. So it's a miss on almost everything, right? So fourth quarter revenues came in at 25.17 billion. The estimates were 25.87 billion, so that was a miss. Earnings per share came in at 71 cents. Estimates were 74 cents. That was a miss. And then, of course, gross margins as well was a miss again. And so this was not something that it was out of the blue. Look, Tesla's still falling down, so we may exactly get it at that 7% move that I talked about. But again, this was not out of the ordinary, and that's probably one of the reasons why Tesla stock was also falling down a lot before the earnings, because if we look at the previous earnings, Tesla has missed 6 out of the last 8 times. And so again, it's probably one of the reasons why Tesla fell down. If you miss 6 out of the last 8 times, a lot of people are expecting that the earnings are probably not going to be great. Now, this earnings call was a bit disappointing, and I want to go ahead and highlight some of the things that I found pretty notable in this earnings call, as well as some of the things that I believe were also very disappointing. And so one of the things is that of course, we heard Elon Musk or Tesla and the Tesla relations report kind of highlight the COGS, cost of goods sold per vehicle, went down, and so that's good, right? We obviously want to see that, but they also mentioned that that's limited, and it's very hard to get it much more lower. But then when you go to the earnings call, they kind of said that, oh, well, it's not that hard to get it down. So it's kind of like I think they just said that on the earnings call just to not really upset anyone. But interestingly enough, I want us to pay attention to one of the contributing factors on why I believe cost of goods sold or just the cost of goods sold per vehicle went down, and that's probably because, and I gotta exit out this ad, but that's probably because lithium prices pretty much fell downwards, and so that's a good thing. We want to see costs coming down in other areas, of course, because we want to see deflation in manufacturing. But again, they said that there's a limit to the cost savings, and so that's something that is a bit disappointing. But I think the biggest disappointment in this earnings call was the fact that there was no guidance as far as production estimates given for 2024. Now, we typically get guidance on that, and usually a target, and Tesla is really accurate, honestly, when they give those guidances, but they didn't. All they pretty much said is that it's expected to be lower than 2023, and so that's something that's very disappointing. I'm sure if you're a long-term investor, you're pretty disappointed in that in regards to Tesla. Now, again, I do want to clarify that I do invest in Tesla for the long term, but I also trade Tesla in my short-term trading account as well, just to clarify that. So this is a video for everyone, no matter if you're a trader or an investor, whatever you do, right? So I want to go ahead and touch on something else that we heard. So we heard an update about the next gen vehicles, which was pretty interesting. We got news in the next gen vehicles and kind of like the announcement and the ideas for them coming into the near future, the same day that we kind of had earnings that were pretty bad. So I think they kind of did that on purpose. That was pretty strategic on their end. And a lot of individuals on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, have speculated that maybe production is stifling because because of the investments in the next gen vehicles. Again, that's not confirmed, but that's kind of like what the word is around on X. And then, of course, we also heard that the Cybertrucks are expected to be slower than other cars in terms of the ramping up in production, areas, which of course we already knew since pretty much the last earnings when you heard Elon Musk crying. But also, something that was very disappointing that I'm not sure if a lot of people caught this, but Elon Musk pretty much flushed Dojo down the toilet, calling it a long shot without a high probability of occurring, basically saying that they're going all in on NVIDIA as kind of like a backup plan. And so that was definitely pretty bad, because if you guys don't remember, we had the analyst from Morgan Stanley, I believe it's Alex Jones, if I'm saying his name correctly. He was the one saying that Dojo has like this huge valuation for Tesla, and then we just hear Elon Musk say, well, yeah, don't really count on it, right? We also had Elon Musk mentioned that there's no interest for FSD licensing from other companies. So that was definitely something that's a bit concerning, because in the past we've heard that, oh yeah, all these companies are going to want to snap up FSD licensing in the near future, but we still haven't seen anything like that so far. And of course, I do expect, because there's a lot of skepticism for licensing of FSD, or just FSD in general. Now, before we go ahead and move on to the charts, because I know some people, when they watch my videos, they want me to go ahead and talk about just the price action, right? Everyone wants to know what's going to happen. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I tend to just use several different data points in Confluence. I look at the charts using the technicals. Of course, we look at the macroeconomic environment, and then also alternative data, and kind of just combine all these data points to kind of come up with an idea of what is likely to take place. And so I'm going to go ahead and talk about the price action. But the last thing I do want to kind of mention is we didn't get any we didn't hear anything about price cuts in the near future. So I thought that was kind of bad, because I wanted to hear, well, are we going to continue cutting prices on these vehicles, or are there not going to be any more price cuts? And then lastly, we also heard Elon Musk kind of walk back that 25% control of Tesla. That was a tweet that he made not too long ago, saying that, if he doesn't have 25% ownership in Tesla, then it may stifle Tesla from innovating on its robotics and AI side. And so he kind of walked back on that, which was a bit good, right? I think that was a bad comment when it first came out. But let's go ahead and talk about the price action for Tesla. So one of the things we're seeing is, again, yes, Tesla fell down to that area that I said was likely going to take place in yesterday's video. Let's go ahead and kind of zoom in right over here. So we're at $195, right? Now, if we go to a daily chart, that kind of puts us at this area where there's a lot of volume relative to price. So that kind of creates this area of a support right around these areas. But if we continue to see Tesla fall down even further, which I don't honestly think is going to be that challenging, well, that's pretty bad for Tesla, because guess what? Then when we fall lower, we could go ahead and fall down to these pretty much these gaps over here that we have around 175, 174, or if we break even below that, then we could possibly fall down to this 145 level. And so that's something that we kind of want to be aware about. So yes, we're kind of in this shelf where there's a lot of volume, and so that could potentially hold Tesla stock upwards. But I think this was a very disappointing earnings, and we could indeed see Tesla fall downwards. Now, Tesla has been pretty interesting, because so far year to date, the Magnificent Seven, all the other, the 6 other stocks have been doing extremely well, while Tesla has been falling down. And so I think it's almost an appropriate time to kind of get rid of the name Magnificent Seven and kind of change it to the Super Six. But we definitely have a lot of data coming out. Again, we're going to have PCE numbers come out. That's a macroeconomic report coming out to see what's going on with inflation, because we know that Tesla, as Elon Musk said in the earnings call, is a highly rate sensitive company. And so of course, if rates get rate cuts come sooner, well, that's beneficial for Tesla. But we also get an update on monetary policy pretty soon. Of course, the idea is that they're going to pause, but we want to hear forward guidance for what they're going to be doing in March, because the first rate cut that many are kind of speculating on is to take place in March. And so those are contributing economic and monetary factors that could honestly bring Tesla even further down if we don't hear any positive news from either report. And so that's something, again, we want to be mindful of. Now, I don't want to stretch this video any much more longer than it needs to. With that said, you guys let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Tesla now after this earnings report? Are you guys going to be buying or are you guys going to be selling? So for me personally, in my long-term portfolio, I'm still not ready to go ahead and add more shares. I'm still bullish on Tesla in the long term, but again, I don't think this is an appropriate time to add more shares. And as far as trading Tesla, again, if we fall down further, I may end up breaking below the shelf over here and actually falling. I may go ahead and start shorting Tesla in my short-term trading account to kind of hedge. But that's just kind of my view. Again, you should only trade or invest in whatever you see value in. I'm just going ahead and providing both what we heard from the earnings call from today and the earnings report, and also just my commentary on Tesla. With that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on this next video right over here. Take care, guys.